Night falls over broken runways and blackened fields. Twisted metal lies across the earth, while fuel fires throw orange light into walls of smoke. In this war, the sky is no longer a place of freedom. It is a hunting ground where old legends and modern machines crash into ruin. From Soviet workhorses to advanced new arrivals, aircraft keep vanishing in the fire above Russia and Ukraine. This is the full story of those losses, told through wreckage, fear, and the brutal rise of modern air defense. The Su-25 charges low over the front like a metal beast built for punishment. It roars above trenches, rockets flashing, trying to save troops under pressure near Bakhmut. Yet the same low flight that makes it deadly also makes it easy to reach. Portable missiles rise from tree lines, and mobile air defense teams wait in silence until the moment is perfect. Again and again, these rugged attack jets are torn from the sky, proving that toughness means little when every field can hide a missile team. Farther south, the Su-24 pushes into danger on deep strike missions. It is old, fast, and still trusted for hard attacks near Kherson and Crimea. Crews race forward through hostile airspace, hoping speed and timing will carry them home. But advanced surface-to-air missiles wait far beyond the front line, guided by radar and patience. One flash, one impact, and another bomber falls, showing how aging strike aircraft now fly under the shadow of systems built to kill at long range. Then come the fighters, proud symbols of speed and power. The Su-27 cuts across tense skies near Zhytomyr and Kiev, turning hard in air combat where every second decides life or death. Missile ambushes and sudden dogfights shatter the idea of safe patrols. The Su-30 enters the war as a multi-role hunter, striking ground targets over Kharkiv and the Black Sea, but ground-based air defense drags it down with brutal efficiency. Even the powerful Su-34, built for high-altitude attack, finds no shield near Avdiivka and Chernihiv, where Patriot batteries and mobile defenses turn expensive bombers into burning wrecks. The Su-35 arrives with a reputation for advanced sensors and superior reach. On paper, it should dominate the air. In reality, dangerous skies do not care about paper strength. Dense missile networks, battlefield confusion, and even friendly fire bring down fighters that were meant to survive everything. Nearby, the MiG-29 fights close to the edge, flying low over contested zones where pilots face radar, guided interceptions and vicious low-level engagements. Skill matters, but in this war, survival often depends on who is seen first. Some losses shock observers because they are so rare. The MiG-31, massive and fast, spends more time near air bases than in close battle, yet even it is not beyond reach. Drone strikes and technical failures turn these heavy interceptors into symbols of vulnerability. The Tu-22M, built for long-range power, launches strikes from deep inside Russian territory, far from the front. Then one bomber is brought down over Stavropol, and the message is impossible to ignore. Distance no longer guarantees safety when a war keeps stretching its hand farther into the rear. New Western help enters the story with hope and pressure. The F-16 appears as a symbol of change, a modern answer to an older air war. Yet almost at once, it faces a massive Russian missile barrage, and the first major loss hits with emotional force. Not long after, the Mirage 2000 races low over the southern front, trying to strike through dense air defense zones. But even this respected French fighter cannot pass through untouched, and its loss shows how every newcomer must face the same ruthless skies. Above the battlefield, the war for awareness becomes just as deadly as the war for firepower. The Beriev A-50 circles over the Sea of Azov, rare and valuable, feeding radar information to forces below. It should stay far from danger, protected by distance and escorts. Instead, long-range Ukrainian missiles ambush and destroy two of these aircraft, striking at the eyes of Russian air operations. The Il-22 command post, flying near southern borders, also becomes a victim of missile chaos and friendly fire confusion, proving that even the aircraft directing the war can be caught inside its disorder. At a facility far from the front, the Beriev A-100 stands as a promise of the future. It is rare, advanced, and meant to push surveillance to a new level. But prototypes are not protected by destiny. A drone strike reaches the ground where it sits and destroys a next, generation aircraft before it can shape the battlefield. In one attack, years of planning are turned into scorched remains. The lesson is harsh and simple in this war. The future can be burned before it ever takes flight. Heavy transports tell a quieter but no less painful story. The Il-76 moves men, fuel, and machines near key airfields, keeping armies alive through constant airlift. Yet it becomes a high-value target near Belgorod and Kiev, where missiles and ground strikes turn giant cargo planes into towering fireballs. The old Antonov An-12 also suffers, carrying supplies through risky routes close to border regions. Hostile fire and mechanical weakness combine into repeated loss. Every transport destroyed is more than an aircraft gone. It is a broken supply line and a wounded army left waiting. The giant Antonov An-22 stands like a monument to another age. Parked at an airbase, it seems too massive to disappear quickly. Yet one targeted strike is enough to erase a vital logistics asset. Nearby, the Antonov An-26 flies low tactical supply missions, hugging the Earth in the hope of avoiding radar. That same low flight brings it into the reach of shoulder-fired missiles near the Eastern Front. Along the Crimean coast, the Beriev B-200, unusual and adaptable, becomes another casualty when long-range drone attacks reach coastal bases. Even useful aircraft far from direct battle now live under constant threat. Training aircraft are pulled into combat because war consumes everything available. The Aero L-39, designed to teach, becomes a light attack platform in desperate conditions. It enters missions for which it was never truly meant, facing a battlefield full of modern surface-to-air weapons. Predictably, it suffers badly. A trainer can fly into battle, but it cannot wish itself into a survivor. Its wreckage becomes a symbol of a war that forces old machines and emergency choices into direct contact with lethal modern defenses. The helicopter war is even more intimate and more savage. The Ka-52 skims low near trenches, firing at armor and infantry around Robertine and Kherson. It looks deadly, and it is, but it flies inside the envelope of handheld missiles and anti-aircraft guns. Losses mount until the helicopter that once symbolized aggressive air support becomes one of the most visible victims of the conflict. Over the Black Sea, the K-27 is shot down during maritime clashes, while the armored K-29 near Crimea is destroyed by sea drones and coastal defense missiles. Sea and land now blend into one danger zone. Transport helicopters suffer with brutal regularity. The Mi-8 carries troops in, lifts the wounded out, and keeps front line units connected around Bakhmut, yet portable air defenses keep cutting these missions short. The Mi-17, upgraded and useful, hauls supplies through contested airspace only to fall to radar, guided missiles and artillery strikes. Then comes the Mi-24, the classic gunship with a fearsome image and heavy armor. But heat-seeking missiles do not care about reputation. Again and again, aircraft built to support troops at close range are destroyed because the battlefield below has grown claws. The largest rotorcraft are not spared by their size. The Mi-26 stands on an exposed landing pad like a prize too large to hide, and precise artillery ends its story in seconds. The Mi-28 hunts armor near Luhansk and Donetsk, entering fights that demand courage and constant movement, yet modern surface-to-air missiles still catch it. The Mi-35 pushes into assaults near Kyiv and Kherson, only to be ambushed by mempeds hidden close to the line. Even the small Mi-2, flying low for Ukrainian utility work, can be cut down by machine guns and small arms. In this war, the height of danger begins just above the ground. Some losses carry an almost tragic sense of rarity. The Mi-14, an uncommon amphibious helicopter, appears near the Black Sea only to be destroyed by a Russian fighter jet. The Airbus H-225 moves through fog near Kyiv, and disaster follows in a crash that causes a painful leadership loss. The Westland Sea King, a veteran rescue helicopter, enters a mission near the coast where help is needed most. Instead, a guided missile finds it during rescue operations. These moments feel especially cruel because they strike not only machines, but the hope of saving others. The drone war grows wider every month, turning the sky into a constant contest of sensors, signals, and sudden explosions. The Kronstadt Orion crosses over Kherson as a strike drone, but jamming and Ukrainian air defenses break its mission apart. The Luch Corsair scouts above Donbass, trying to watch and report, yet electronic warfare and small air defense systems stalk it until it falls. The forepost, larger and easier to track, appears on radar screens and becomes prey for fighters and mobile missile teams. The Kod's Mohajer, sent toward targets near Odessa, is often destroyed before it can reach them. Then come the aircraft that seem almost too small to matter, until their numbers change the entire battlefield. The Orlan-10 fills the air over combat zones, watching, correcting fire, and exposing movement below. But hundreds of them are hunted down by jammers, missiles, and anti-aircraft fire. The Elleron follows a similar path over Avdiivka, where anti-drone rifles and electronic warfare silence it before it can guide action on the ground. These are not glamorous kills, yet they matter deeply. Destroying a small scout drone can save lives, protect artillery positions, and blind an enemy at the worst possible moment. Even experimental power fails to escape the chaos. The Su-70, a stealth combat drone meant to represent the future, ends up flying out of control. In a moment that feels both absurd and revealing, a Russian fighter shoots down its own rogue prototype. On the other side, the Bayraktar TB2 begins the war as a famous hunter, striking targets and lifting morale during the early months. Later, as Russian defenses adapt, those same drones face a much harsher reality and losses grow. The UA Dynamics Punisher slips into quiet bombing missions, but jamming and local anti-aircraft fire bring it down as well. The drone battlefield keeps expanding until almost every shape in the sky is temporary. The Avenger, fast and advanced, moves near contested borders with the promise of greater range and power. Yet Russian heavy air defenses track it and shoot it down, reminding everyone that speed alone does not defeat a prepared network. Across the entire war, aircraft are no longer judged only by armor, speed, or price. They are judged by whether they can survive layered detection, constant jamming, mobile launchers, surprise ambushes, and the simple fact that the enemy is always learning. Now the camera returns to the ground. Burned jets lie in fields. Helicopter rotors are twisted beside shattered roads. Transport hulks sit open and empty near ruined air bases. Drone fragments scatter across mud, rooftops, and coastlines. The pattern is impossible to miss. Modern air defense has changed the shape of this war so deeply that the sky feels less like open space and more like a trap built from radar, signals, missiles, and fear. This is the final truth written across Ukraine's skies and the lands beyond them. The age of easy air power is gone here. Old Soviet aircraft fall. Modern Russian aircraft fall. Western aircraft fall. Helicopters fall. And drones fall in numbers that keep growing. Every mission is a gamble. Every engine start carries risk. And every silhouette can become wreckage within minutes. In this war, no aircraft is truly safe anymore, because the sky itself has become one of the most dangerous battlefields on Earth.